Hi, I'm Carissa Lyon, and today I am going to be answering questions on leveraging English learner assets and building home and school connections. So, our first topic is culturally responsive teaching. So, I'm going to summarize this with asking a question first. Cultural competence in teaching English to learners includes a teacher. Why? A teacher who works with English language learners must be culturally competent. To be culturally competent, this means the teacher needs to learn who their students are, see their cultural differences, their different backgrounds, get to know them, and understand where they come from and use their backgrounds to their advantage. And this leads to a culturally a culturally responsive teaching style, which is when the teacher takes a student's customs, characteristics, experiences, and perspectives and uses them as tools to better the classroom instruction. When the teacher does this, though, it helps the student meet their academic needs. It also helps find connections that are familiar to what a student already knows, from whether it's something that they enjoy, like a hobby or whatnot, or just a tradition from their culture. All of this helps lead to a relationship between the teacher and the student, which will help the student succeed, because the teacher will take everything they know and develop it into a lesson for the student, and get them engaged and interested in what they have to learn. Let's see. What is the role of the culture in a student learning? How do school and classroom environments influence language acquisition? Okay, so culture plays a vital role in student learning. It helps shape the way students learn through different styles, motivations, and communications, which is why educators take the time to learn their students, understand them, and see what gets them interested in things, new topics and stuff to help them. One of the easiest ways to help students understand new material is making connections to real life, whether it's something the student experienced, or they have a connection to through family one way or another. Something to help to create an inclusive environment in the classroom is using nonverbal methods. Whether you're drawing or showing a picture or having the student point to a picture, it can all help with communication with one another, because there's going to be a language barrier whether we like it or not, and we have to figure out how to overcome it. And like the saying goes, a picture can say 1,000 words. Another thing to help an English learner in the classroom for an inclusive environment is when learning new content, the information can be given in the student's native language. So that way the student's learning the content, but not also learning the content and a new language. It can be a little chunks at a time, which will help the student digest easier and retain the information that we want them to retain and not feel completely overwhelmed. What are some strategies for supporting and celebrating cultural diversity within instruction? So this can be fun. There are many strategies to support and celebrate cultural diversity within instruction. One of the easiest ways is using books and literature. So the teacher can select different authors from different cultures, which will give different perspectives and introduce students to new ideas, new information, everything from. And another one is multimedia resources. We use that every single day in the classroom. So showing a student various videos, songs, articles, whatnot, It all can help peek into a discussion within the classroom, get students flowing into conversation, asking questions, wanting to find out more about a different culture and whatnot. Something that helps with that too is, like I was saying, class and group discussions. Teachers can encourage students to tell their stories, their experiences to one another, and dive into conversation. Projects where students work together is another one where they can research another country or another culture and use that to learn from it, to understand someone. A fun one is organizing cultural days or cultural events, holidays. So one that comes to the top of mind is Day of the Dead. So we could have a class day where everybody celebrates Day of the Dead. We can research it before. We can do like writing activities and presentations to PowerPoints, whatever, and make it fun and creative and explain it. And I know when I was in school, I loved doing that kind of stuff. Let's see, what are some strategies for responsiveness to different strengths, needs, and identities of English learning students, including special needs? And what are some opportunities and approaches to meet the social and emotional needs of English learners? So, luckily, there are many strategies for responsiveness to different strengths, needs, and identities for all English learners and even students with special needs. One of the biggest ones is differentiated instruction, where the teacher can make changes to the way she teaches, or even like changes to the learning environment, whether the student needs to be pulled to a smaller classroom, the content needs to be shortened. So there's so many different ways to do that. And another way to help meet the needs of students, whether it's English learners or special needs, is through tools. For closed captioning, it can be used when showing a video. So if you're showing a video, have subtitles on. It'll help not only hearing impaired students, but also students who are English learners see the words, hear the words, and help comprehend. A popular one that I always see myself is voice typing tools. So a student a lot of times knows what they want to say, but they don't know how to take what's in their brain and put it on their paper. They struggle with writing and spelling, and a lot of times, depending on the student and their situation, they get frustrated, overwhelmed, and they're done. They lose interest. I don't want to see that in a student. So using voice typing methods is a perfect way for students to focus on what they want to say, to answer the question, to tell us. And instead of focusing on spelling and writing, they're focusing on the information that needs to be done and said and learned at hand. Let's see. The importance of understanding the social, emotional, and cultural needs of students when establishing classroom routines and procedures. Okay, so the teacher needs to understand the student, like I've been saying, in order to create an environment that feels safe to all the students. Something that I learned was an acronym teachers can go by called SAFE, where it stands for sequence, active, focus, and explicit. So sequence is coordinated sets of activities to foster skill development. Active learning helps students master new skills. And focused emphasis on developing personal and social skills. Explicit is a way to look at specific social and emotional skills. So this is something to go by to help a teacher put in rules and expectations and procedures into the classroom daily routines. Okay, so home and school connections. How might a family and community practices influence language learning? And what are some strategies to foster to build and foster strong family, community, and school partnerships? What are effective family engagement practices and support and highlight the assets of home language, including communication, family involvement, and providing intentional strategies for families of ELs? What are some inclusive community engagement practices? Okay, so I'm going to sum this up all together. Learning takes place both at school and at home. When families support the child at home, it helps the child succeed so much more. A student needs repetition, which when they're doing it at school and at home, it all flows together. So to make sure everybody's on the same page, the teacher should be taking initiative to make sure that there's an open line of communication always between the families and the teacher, between whether it's a phone call, an email, a newsletter. Some schools have an app that they use. I think most schools use it now. I'm not sure of the name, but I think they all use a different type, but they go on, they can communicate and instant message each other between the teacher and the families. This is a great way to make sure that there's no lag in communication and you get right to the source about if there's an issue or a question, whatever it may be, and you solve it and get on with it. To make sure that families are engaged at home and helping the student learn English overall, plus the content, obviously, is getting families to encourage students to read at home. Whether they read together, that would be a great option. Is they read a short story or an article where the story is either in English or their native language, but also it has to be translated into English, definitely. They can also listen to a story in their native language and then listen to it in English to help with the translation and everything to understand what the message of the story or article, whatever it may be. Another idea to help families at home is most families watch TV at night, whether it's an episode or what, before bed. They could put on the show in their native language and then turn on the subtitles to English, and then maybe every once in a while put the show in English and have the subtitles as their native language, and that'll help translation and it'll help the English language set in while they're watching something that they enjoy, while they relax. It'll click. Let's see. So yeah, so making sure that the families understand the school procedures, making sure that there's open line communication and active family involvement is all ways to help a student. And that is all for today. So thank you for your time.